Hi, so today we're just going to do a quick overview of QuickBooks. Before we really get started with the software, I just Googled QuickBooks and this is the main QuickBooks page. I'm going to click on Plans and Pricing. I just want to show you some of the options. So if you take a look here, QuickBooks Online is available in several different setups. In the simple start, you can see we can do income and expenses, organize receipts, sales tax, got some basic reports. If you move up to the essentials, which is $17 a month, you've got the opportunity to manage bills. The difference in this and this one, even though it says we can do income and expenses, a bill is an expense typically. This just means that when we get a bill and it says it's due in 30 days, we can enter that, and QuickBooks will help us manage our cash and let us know when that's coming up, and that way we can pay it when it's due, not immediately. In this simple start, you're just going to enter those after you've paid those or when you pay them. You can have 3 users instead of just one, and we can track time for specific jobs or specific employees. On Plus, we have all of those, plus projects. Inventory, important to note that in QuickBooks Online, it uses FIFO, first in, first out, for inventory, and that's not an option to change. In some of the desktop software, if you've used that before, you know that you have the option to change that to different inventory tracking. And then 1099 contractors, and then there's the self-employed one that is really basic but can help you keep track of stuff, but they also have this track miles here because that's important for self-employed individuals. I'm going to scroll down since I mentioned the desktop software. QuickBooks does still sell desktop software, but it's really not what they're focusing on anymore. I anticipate eventually it will go away, but it is still available in these links down here at the very bottom. And so you can take a look at that if you have some interest in that. The QuickBooks Online is software as a service, much like Office 365 that you all are familiar with using. The cool part about that is that you always have the most up-to-date. That's also a challenging part about it. So sometimes the pictures in the book may not look exactly the same because QuickBooks Intuit is always updating QuickBooks. Here's an example. This track projects was not here a month ago or 2 months ago. This is a new feature in Plus. So we're going to click over to QuickBooks, and I am on the test drive site, and that's what you're going to use for Chapter 1. You'll find that link in your book on page 6, and it's just qbo.intuit.com redirect, but it's shortened there, redirect test drive. And that's what you're going to use for Chapter 1. So you're not using that email that you got yet. If you happen to have already used that and you find out later that you didn't quite do it right, it's okay. And when we start Chapter 2, I'm going to tell you how to fix any of that, so don't worry about it yet. So this is just a test drive site that you can always come back to and use to practice something. So if you're not sure how something's going to work, you can come play in this one, because every time you come to it, it's going to reset to be exactly the same. So it always looks like this when you log in, and you can play with it and practice anything you need to. So it's pretty handy. And all you're doing in Chapter 1 is getting acquainted with QuickBooks Online so that we're ready to go with your company in Chapter 2, because you're going to set up your company in Chapter 2, and then we're going to continue to work with it throughout this rest of this semester. So it's not really a place you want to be playing around, because any changes you make, you might have to figure out how to change those back. You'll notice I'm using Chrome. The book recommends Chrome because the screenshots have been taken in Chrome, so you probably should try using Chrome when you're using QuickBooks Online. I'm going to start up here at the top, the gear icon, and I'm going to click Accounts and Settings. Once that loads, right here you'll notice this is where your company name is listed. You can change that there, so these are just basic company information. There's also lots of different settings, so sometimes you might need to turn something on or off here. So for example, our preferred invoice terms is net 30. We may not want to offer net 30. That means our customers can pay 30 days from an invoice. Maybe we want that to be due upon receipt, or net 15. So this is where you can make those changes. One thing that I always like to change is click Advanced, and right here enable account numbers. By default they're turned off. I always like to turn them on and show them. For folks that are not familiar with accounting, the account numbers might make it confusing, but you guys have all had accounting and understand that. It can make using QuickBooks Online much faster because without even trying, you're going to remember a lot of those account numbers that you use pretty often, and so it can make entering stuff pretty fast. Another one that can be kind of annoying, see this sign me out if inactive, you can adjust the time there. So if you want that to be longer, you can. I'm going to set mine to 2 hours. Okay, I'm going to click the Done button down here at the bottom. I'm going to click the gear icon again, and we can look at the chart of accounts and make changes there if we want to add any new accounts by clicking there. So when that loads, you'll notice that we don't have numbers because they haven't been used. We'll need to assign numbers. It's pretty easy to do. So when you hit, instead of clicking View the checking register, you can hit the down arrow and edit. And we can go in here and add the number 1000 for that one. Hit Save and Close. And you'll see that that one has a number. Okay, I'm just doing that as an example. You don't have to do that, but you can play with those changes. While we're here, we're going to go ahead and click View Register. And this register really is much like what your checkbook register is. It's just going to show you every check or transaction on the checking account that's been made. And so if you want to see more about something like this expense, you can click on it and even as far as go in and edit that if you need be. And so here's that expense form that it was entered on. So there was a legal counsel expense and a check was written, and this shows all of the details there. I'm going to hit the X just to close out of there. And back to the gear icon. Another thing that you'll use pretty often is we'll click all lists so we can see this. You can get to chart of accounts here, but products and services. So this lists the products and services that are available through Craig's Landscaping, and you can add new ones here by clicking the new button up here on the top, or we can make changes to these. So if we want to up this price of a design hour from 75 to 80, you can click Edit and make that change so that an hour of design time is $80 instead of 75, and that way when you add design time to any invoice or sales receipt, it will automatically add that price. Okay, you click Dashboard and it takes you back to this home page. Okay, a couple other places I want you to see right quick. If you click Sales, it's going to take us to a screen, and we're on the products and services. That's where we were before. I'm going to click back to All Sales, and you get this colored bar at the top. So this is helping us understand what we have from customers. So these are sales transactions. So we have, for example, we have 10 people that have overdue bills to us in the amount of $1,526. So if we click on that, we can see them, and maybe we can give these folks a call and encourage them to pay their bill. Whereas we have 10 more, so 20 total invoices for a total of 5,300 ballpark outstanding, but some of those are not due yet. So you can see the due date of this one is 10/6, which is coming up, but it's not due yet, so it's not going to show up in this overdue like these are. Okay, if you click Expenses and go to Vendors, this is kind of the opposite. This is the people we owe money to. So we have $848 on 4 different bills that's overdue. If I click this color code, I can see that. And it makes it real easy for us to just come in here and click the button to make the payment. Okay, and we can send this payment from here. So QuickBooks Online is handy in the fact that we can just use this in any browser, which means you can access it from anywhere you would like. It also, one of the cool things is you can have your accountant have access to this. So if you're having trouble with something or you have a question, It's real easy for your accountant to log in and make the change for you or explain something to you without having to get you to bring a backup copy to them. So it makes it really easy to have that relationship between you and your accountant help you with your books. In fact, in some of the training that I've been to on QuickBooks Online, some of those people that were doing the training are folks that run accounting practices and don't even have an office because they're working on the road at their clients' offices, or they stop at a coffee shop, or they sit in their living room and can do everything online because they no longer have to have a physical place because they can get into their clients' books from anywhere. I've clicked on the reports tab, so we've got lots of opportunities to look at reports, and if there's not one that you like, you can customize one that's here, or you can build your own. So we're just looking at a balance sheet just to remind you of the basic accounting formula: assets equal liabilities and owner's equity. Of course, QuickBooks follows all GAAP practices, generally accepted accounting principles. So you can look at the balance sheet and so see our assets and our liabilities and our equity. So balance sheet's not the only report. If you took a glance there are a lot of reports. We can create custom reports. And there's even this management report section. So if we click company overview, we get something more formatted, so more presentable. Okay, so it gives you lots of opportunities for different ways to create reports out of QuickBooks Online. So your task for Chapter 1 is, after watching this video, is to go to the chapter, begin on page 1, and then as you're going through the chapter, anywhere you see something that says develop your skills, you're going to actually log into the test drive account that you're looking at right here, and you're going to do the actions that it tells you in those develop your skills. So it's only about 20 pages, 18 actually, I just looked. So it won't take you very long to go through that. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.